welcome to Liz at Home and another Watercolor Wednesday and another unboxing of the great Emma Lefebvre Craftamo watercolor subscription box. This, I believe, is the October box and I'm very excited to open it. As usual, we have a gorgeously painted image on the front, which there will be a class to teach how to color this, and this is a beautiful pumpkin, so it's perfect for now for October with Halloween and autumn on the way for all the northern hemisphere people. And Emma lives in Canada, so she is definitely northern hemisphere. I'm southern hemisphere. I live in South Africa, so we are entering spring. And I sometimes find myself going just slightly crazy in this coloring and art world because everything seems to be seasonal and our seasons are not the same as the mainstream. So that gets quite tricky for me. I'm just having a quick sip of tea. So without further ado, I'm going to open it. I'm going to just put some lights on. I left them off because of the glare. And that will hopefully help you to see better. I think I only have 2 more boxes after this one. So beautiful. I'm saving all this tissue paper to go into gifts. The slightly different color to what's on the cover. It's slightly more vibrant color, which is great. And then she gives the class at the back. And here we have something. What? Oh, that's one of those clips. I think you put it that way around and then you can keep your sketchbook open. It's also in a beautiful rose gold color. It's rather nice. Put that aside so long. 2 brushes. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to get another subscription box for next year. Do you enjoy these unboxings? I see there's a gouache subscription box opening up soon, and I'm in 2 minds about it. So, yeah, I'm still thinking about it. So this is a size 8 filbert, which I don't have as yet. So that's, I don't use a filbert brush very often, but I'm sure as my watercoloring advances, it will come in more and more handy. And this is a big size 10 cat's tongue. Don't use them often either, but I do find them awesome with these beautiful points that they come to. Still has the glue on, so I should be able to get it back on there to protect that. All of the confetti, tracing paper, and image to trace, plus the, can't get it out, watercolor paper. I just wanted to check because I saw in the gouache subscription box they were going to be giving 4 sheets of paper. In this one there are 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, 5 sheets of watercolor paper. This is very nice 100% cotton paper. So that's that, and then the paints, and I will open them now and we can see them. Get that out of the way. So that's interesting colors. I'll see if I can read them. Oops, sorry about the noise. I love these little half pans. They are so like little boxes of chocolate or sweeties. So this is cadmium orange, Burnt Sienna, which is a great color to have in the palette. Viridian Hue. I'm not that keen on Viridian Green. Comes in most palettes, and this one is called Verdi Blue. Verdi Blue. There's an Italian opera composer called Giuseppe Verdi, and that's why I said Verdi, but I'm not sure if you would pronounce that in the English fashion or not. And then the pigment numbers are on there, but I will only look at them if I desperately need them. So I'm going to open these and get ready, and then I will swatch them for you. Well, I have my lovely colours nicely unpackaged. The Verdi Blue presented a problem. It was still wet and it all came onto my fingers and it got stuck on the little paper. I put all the papers over here, and this time I have looked up the pigment numbers because I was very interested in this Verdi Blue. So the cadmium orange is PY83 and P043. The burnt sienna is PR101. The viridian hue is PG7, and the Verdi Blue is PB28. I looked that one up and I discovered that PB28 is made of, or I don't know, but it said it comes from cobalt aluminium oxide, which is very toxic. And it's found, it's a blue pigment, and it ranges from reddish to turquoise blue. And it's found in a number of watercolor sets of watercolors, and it was so interesting looking this up on the internet because the color swatches they came with all look different, and yet they're all made with the same pigment. So I don't know how I know the pigment is ground to, it's called mulled, to a very fine powder and mixed with something, a binder, usually honey, often honey, usually, what's it called now? Something made from ox gall, and I can't remember the name now. It will come to me and I'll insert it in the video. And that's how the watercolors are made. And so I don't know if it depends on how much of the pigment is in as to what the color becomes. But it is found in, let me use the well-known, in Rembrandt, cobalt turquoise blue, in White Nights, cobalt turquoise, in Holbein, cobalt turquoise, number 106, in Winsor & Newton, cobalt blue, in Shinhan, cobalt blue, and in Sennelier, cerulean blue. So I found that quite interesting. Anyway, a long aside about the pigment colors, and now we're going to do what is nice for all of us, I think. Well, it's part I love, and that is swatching them. So I'm not using the brushes yet. I'm using my small little number 4 dagger because the brushes we received today are a bit large for swatching. I'll try the brushes out in a minute. I just need my little... I've just had a sneezing fit. It's a nice bright orange. And then the burnt sienna. I have not, oops, that's not the burnt sienna, that's the viridian hue. I put them in the wrong order. I'll correct that later. I have not actually, I'm talking rubbish. I'm now going left to right. It is in the right order. Burnt sienna. I did the Skillshare class with a lady that kept calling it burnt sienna. Different accents, different countries. We all have different ways of pronouncing things, but I've always called this burnt sienna, so I hope I'm not wrong. I think it just depends where you live. Then Viridian Hue, it's a very pretty colour, and the first time I got it in a watercolour set, I was quite excited, but it's not one that one often really uses in a painting. At least I haven't. Maybe I need to create a painting to use it. Once again, the sizing has gone from my watercolor paper. This was inexpensive watercolor paper, so I don't mind. Somebody who watched one of my previous videos where I had all this problem with sizing suggested that I watch the Frugal Crafter, who had a very interesting video on sizing, and I watched it and I found it very enjoyable, and I actually had not realized how often it happens. So that's why this is there. This one's fine. I'm just going to try that Viridian again, although let me put some more of this. I love this color, it's beautiful. It's a little bit like the powder blue, but darker, so it's a single pigment color. I must have a look at the pigments of the powder blue and see if it's got that same pigment in it or not. This isn't the sizing, this was just the paint didn't move that well. Probably didn't have enough water. So there are the colours. I think they're rather nice colours, and then I'm going to play with my brushes a little bit. And everybody seems to have been enjoying me doing a little painting, so I thought I might play and do a fall or autumn coloured tree just for fun. Trying to use, I'll maybe use some other colours as well, but definitely the orange and the burnt sienna, but perhaps when I do some colour mixing. So this is now the fill bit, and I'm just pressing it down a few times in the water jar to get rid of the binding thing that makes those bristles sticky, so that it's easier to use. So the only trouble with filming is it makes it difficult to know on what side to put things. So let me start with this orange. I'm going to actually make a few places and then make some mixes and see what we get with it. So this is this number 8 filbert. And I'm going to first do a fat line because I've got a lot of water on my brush. And I'm actually using the nice paper this time. And then still with, I haven't dipped my brush in again, trying some fine lines and the side. So let me see how that works. And it would be interesting, I'm just making a bit of a wash here. Point and release. I don't know what I would ever use that for, but, and you can do little lines down. I suppose one could actually do quite nice long leaves like that. Anyway, there's the velvet. It's quite a staining colour, this cadmium orange. Just need to clean my brush. And now I'm going to try out this cat's tongue, which is beautiful. And I think if I paint the pumpkin, this point will be absolutely fabulous for going into filling in the dark spaces. So this brush is a little bit big for these tiny half pans. I'm just going to fill some places here. I especially cleaned this up today, and I'm going to add some to the orange and do first a fat line with it and going back. Getting more water on there. Look at that line. It's a very fine line for such a fat brush. You can actually almost do a little, there's too much water on my brush now, but you can almost stamp out a little leaf like that. It holds a lot of water. I wouldn't use this for tiny leaves, but you can make a lovely long straw and you can do little dabs. Oh, look, it makes an arrow when you stamp with it. I could use this in my bullet journal, couldn't I? Little arrows for everything. So let's see some of the colors. So I've got just the plain burnt sienna. And we've got a fish coming out of this one. So if I mix the burnt sienna now, let me try this green. If I mix, that's going to make another brown with the cobalt orange. It wasn't cobalt orange, cadmium orange. It doesn't make a brown, it actually makes quite a nice olive green. Oh, that's a lovely color, I like that. And if I mix, I just need some more of this burnt sienna. And if I mix just a little bit of the viridian into that, be interesting because the burnt sienna is quite close to the orange. So just a little viridian. Also makes a darker green. Can play nicely. And now I'm going to rinse that clean. And I'm going to use my little brush because I'm finding the big brushes in the half pans quite tricky. I want to see what will happen if I mix this verde blue in with the orange. That makes a kind of a pale brown, an ochre in a way. And if I mix the pale blue into the burnt sienna, makes a different brown. I managed to get some of that color on there. Let me just get rid of it there. I think there's a lot of white mixed in with this one, although it's not stated in the pigment number. So it'd be interesting to see the viridian mixed with this pale blue. I think that I didn't have enough of the verde blue, I think I'm going to need to put a bit more in there to see a difference. Actually makes a lovely sea color, doesn't it? And if I mixed even some little touch of the orange into that to darken it down. It's so fun mixing colors. I'd never realized that before getting these boxes. But Emma kind of encourages us to play around with the colors and mix them. Okay, so I'm going to set up to do a little picture. Okay, so I'm going to I'll probably use my round brush as well as some of these brushes just to help myself along. I'm going to start with the yellow and make, I don't have a yellow. I'm going to start with, so let me see if I can do this with these colors. I'm going to start with this cadmium orange and make a very light wash of it. So just want to add quite a bit of water to that. And even some more so that I get this quite pale. And then I'm going to take my paper towel so that I have it here and just do dabs very loosely to get a shape of a tree. And I want to intentionally leave some white spaces. Add some more water, trying to be very loose. Let the tree go out a bit here. A bit more of a point. Just dabbing. Okay, so we have a basic tree shape. And we have a few white spaces, which is good. Now I'm going to go back to this orange. And I'm going to go with a few darker bits here and there, just to add some interest. And particularly at the bottom. I so want to grab the red, but I'm only allowing myself to use these colors. Now I'm going to use some of this burnt sienna and mix it into the orange. And drop that in here and there. Perhaps particularly down here. This is a quick little painting. And perhaps to get that darker, let's see if I take this, a lot of the burnt sienna, and mix a little bit of the green, the viridian hue, into that. If that will darken it sufficiently. I want a darker color. I just want a tiny bit of the viridian. Yes, that is making it a bit darker brown. Good. So let me try that here and there. And particularly at the bottom. There we are. And going to go back to the orange, cadmium orange. There we are, and then we're going to come back to the tree trunk. All right, it's still actually damp, but it's dried a little bit. I've taken a bit of the Viridian and the burnt sienna, and I've mixed that to make a kind of a darkish green. And I'm going to drop that in here and there and not fiddle with it too much. I just wanted to create a bit of interest here and there. I sort of feel if I'm not fiddling too much, then it won't become too brown. There, I quite like that. I'm sort of going around those white spaces. And then I'm going to take some more of just the plain burnt sienna to drop that in a bit more. While this is not as wet, so it's going to just, it's still bleeding a little bit, but yeah, it's doing what I wanted to. It's making some very nice feathery shapes, but also retaining a little bit of the sort of leafy look that I wanted. Let me try this side of the brush. Nope, I don't like that. So I'm going to go to my round brush. There we are. And now I'm going to take the burnt sienna and this cat's tongue brush with its lovely point, and I'm going to make a tree trunk. So I'm going to first try a thin line down there, and I don't mind if it bleeds in just a fraction, getting wider at the base. There we are. There we are. And I want to darken that. So I'm going to take some of the Viridian hue into this. And that's now very green. So now we're going to add some more burnt sienna. Yeah, it's still too green. Everything's going into the brush. I think I must use my smaller brush to mix with, because this is very thirsty and it just pulls all the paint into it. Let me get some more of the Viridian. They're all bright colors. I really would like to just add a nice burnt umber or something, but I'm determined to try and do this just using these four colors. Getting better. But I wonder what would happen if I just put some orange into that now, which is closer to green. It would become more brown. Still too green. What do I do? Get some of this other blue. Yeah, that's done the trick. Well, that's still too green. I don't want green. I'm getting close to giving up here. It's just turning into mud. Now, I think what I'm going to do, because I really don't want to mess my tree up totally, I'm going to give up and use the dark brown that I have here. Not quite sure what color it is, but I'm just mixing it into this. It's better. Let's see what color it is. I think it's a Van Dyke brown that I'm using here. Just mixing it into all of these. And so I'm just going to, let me just go down the one side of this tree trunk to create a bit of a shadow. And a bit in the, create a hole. There we are. And I want this to dry, and then I'll do some little branches, but while it's still damp, just wet my brush. I can actually use the filbert for this. I've just wet the brush, I'm drying it off, and I'm going to do a line like that and just activate that to let the tree rest on some earth. So I'm just going to, I must say this burnt sienna is a very staining color. So I think I may just take a bit more of it and add it there. Dry that off and just let that bleed down. And then I'm going to take some more orange leaves and let a few, yeah, need a smaller brush for this. Or maybe my cat's tongue's going to make the wrong shape. This is the little dagger. Make that hanging down a little bit. Let some leaves fall. Bright orange ones also. Giving a bit of texture on top here again. All right, so now I'm going to let that dry completely, and then I'll come back and fill in some branches. Hello there, I'm back again, and everything is now dry. So I'm going to create some little branches and things like that. I'm going with the burnt sienna. And I'm just going to, so I want a bit of, and then I think I will get, oops, that's a bit wide. Bit there. Over there. And some branches there. And then I want to create just some on top of this. And I think I'm going to go with some of the Viridian and create a dark green for some of these little leaves. Just adding some orange to make it not so bright. I don't want that kind of bright color. I want a dark green. So I'm going to do some around there. Just here and there, because in the autumn leaves, in the autumn trees, there is often still a bit of green. And then I'm going to add a bit of the burnt sienna as well. Just to bring some out in the front here. And on top of those branches, so that they don't look so added in late, as it were. Just over top there. And we just need a few on the actual ground. And let's go with some orange ones. Just a few there. Maybe one or two falling. And I think we're done. Maybe, yeah, I think we're done. I think if I add any more, maybe just want to make that extend a bit there. There we are. I think our painting is finished. Cleaning my brushes off. Still maybe need just a few over here. I'm going to take this off. It's actually the right color washi tape for this season, isn't it? I must say it was nice painting this on the 100% cotton paper. Keep this and take it off the blue. I've just got it stuck onto an old file of mine. There we are. There's our finished autumn tree. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the unboxing of this, the October box from Emma, Lefebvre and Craftamo. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful, creative and artistic week. Bye-bye now.